As we're moving into the spring selling market right here in San Diego, there's a few things you need to know if you are a potential buyer or a seller in these next few months. In this video, we're going to get into 3 things that we're actually seeing with our buyers and sellers out there to let you know what to actually expect when you're going into this real estate market here. I'm Chris Erickson. We got a real estate crew right here in San Diego. And if you're thinking about making a move, all of our contact info is right below, so feel free to reach out. But let's get into it. So one thing we have seen in the recent months is more homes going under contract quickly. Like the days on market hasn't been, it's actually going down from the beginning of the year. Not quite as low as where we were last year. I think we're sitting about 23 days for all of San Diego County, just to average. Some are going to be quicker, some are going to be longer. But what we have seen is homes going under contract very quickly in that first weekend, within that first week. But we have seen a handful come back on the market. So meaning the buyer got in contract, they went through in their inspections or something changed with their payments. Let's say interest rates, even about less than a month ago, interest rates were about 0.5% lower than they were right now. So if you were looking, you got in contract, rates jumped up as quickly as they have over these past few weeks. Potentially, it could put you in a place where you're not comfortable with the payments anymore and decide not to move forward. So for buyers out there, as you're looking at properties, the number of homes out there, the inventory levels, while it is going up a little bit, depending on where you are, it's not going up a ton to, like, I like to say, pre-2019 levels, where we did have a more normalized market. Still relatively low in the scheme of things. But as you're looking at homes, let's say you didn't see it or you're out of town or whatever the case might be, where you weren't able to see it that first weekend, it did went into contract. Keep an eye on those properties because they potentially will come back on the market. Now, it's not like a for sure thing, so don't get your hopes up. But we just are working through negotiations right now on a property that our clients did not to write on that first weekend. The second weekend, it came back on, or less than a week later, it came back on. And now we're in negotiations right now. So keep an eye on it. If you do like a home, like it, keep a close eye on it. Have your agents keep a close eye on it so that you know that if and when it does pop up, you are ready to go. And then we had a house in Cardiff that went under contract pretty quickly. It's like 17 days, which is fairly quick for that Cardiff market. And it was in contract for about 7 days. The buyer was doing their inspections. She decided, the home wasn't for her. So she did cancel the contract. Now that home did come back on the market. We have since sold that home, but it did take about double that time to get it back under contract again with another buyer. So for sellers out there, be aware that we have been seeing more of that. Now, as agents, we do our best to vet the potential buyers, but sometimes people get in there, interest rates change, they get out of their comfort zone, something else happens, they find something in the house that they did not expect and decide to cancel the contract. So for buyers and sellers, we are seeing more homes come back on the market after they initially went under contract. The second thing we're seeing is more of a gap between different markets. We always tell you that different markets are going to be different depending on what neighborhood you're in, depending on where your home is located, depending on what city you're in. And it's actually seems like it's getting a little more of a gap between different neighborhoods. So I was out showing a property over in Carlsbad the other day, chatting with the agent, and the home we were checking out, it had showings booked throughout the whole weekend. There was already one offer in, another offer coming in. And this wasn't like a super low price point. It was like $2.2 million price point over in Carlsbad. But she was telling me about a few other properties she had listed over in Leucadia. And she was saying those have seen very little action. Obviously, price points are going to be a little bit higher over there. They had been on the market for about 30 days already, where the one that we had seen was that first weekend. It'll probably go under contract today or tomorrow. And so it's really just important to know what's going on in your neck of the woods, whether you are looking to purchase in a neighborhood as a buyer, just kind of know what's going on. Obviously, your agent will fill you in on kind of the competition, what it's looking like in those neighborhoods, what to expect going into that situation. And sellers, once again, getting educated on what's happening in your neck of the woods, what's happening with your specific neighborhood, because the gap between, like I said, that you can't really put a blanket statement over everything right now because there is different fluctuations going on, a little bit more than we have seen over these past few years. And the third thing we are seeing is that interest rates, mortgage rates, have not necessarily slowed down the market all that much. Now, I'm making this video in the middle part of April right now, and rates have gone up significantly, like a half of a percentage point, which is a huge jump in interest rates in a very short amount of time. So we'll see how that affects the next few months of sales. Maybe it will slow it down a little bit, because as they were hovering around 7%, the market slowed down a little bit, meaning a few years ago when we had super low inventory, there was not a ton of homes out there. There was a ton of buyers. There was relocation people. There was other people coming in. There was just a lot going on. And on every home, you'd see potentially, well, definitely multiple offers, but you could have up to 25, 30 offers on a property, which was nuts. That's as interest rates were rising over these past few years. Now we are seeing still multiple offer situations, but instead of those 10, 15, 20 offers that you're competing against, it's maybe 2, 3, 4, depending on the price point, depending on where you are. And some properties are going to get a little bit more demand, a little bit more competition than others. Those ones that are going to be in those lower price points so like starter homes in all different cities, Carlsbad's, Encinitas, San Marcos's, all those will usually have more competition because there's going to be more buyers out there. And now, while the market time, the number of days the homes are on the market before they go into contract, isn't all that off from past years. Right now, I believe, like I said, we're sitting about 23 days on the market average. So some neighborhoods you're looking at that first weekend, some you're looking like a month plus. And so for buyers out there, just keep an eye on properties, keep a close eye on properties, even if they go under contract. Maybe they will potentially pop back on. Get educated on the market, and that specific market you're looking at, and be ready for some competition, but not the frenzy that we had in the past. And same goes for sellers. We have seen more buyers get cold feet and drop out of contract. Make sure you know what's going on in your neighborhood and right now. So if you're meeting with an agent right now and we're in April, but you're not going to sell your house till June or July, you're going to want to stay in close touch because the market can change between here and there. So now, while you can get a good idea of what's happening right now, it's always crucial to know what's going on the closer you get to putting your home on the market. And just be aware that pricing is super important as always, and preparation is important as always. If you're priced accordingly to where other homes have sold on the market and you got your home ready, you got it prepped, you got it looking good, obviously all the pictures are dialed in, all that kind of stuff, then you put yourself in the best position to sell your home for top dollar. If you guys are thinking about buying or selling in these next few months, as a quick reminder, I'm Chris Erickson. We got a real estate crew right here in San Diego, and we got your back when making the move here in San Diego.